and welcome back to my channel. It's officially been 1 month since The Life of a Showgirl came out, and I thought we could talk about it. I have some thoughts about this album. Apparently there was a lot of discord and controversy in the Swiftie community, so I wanted to share my thoughts because my thoughts on the album were very different than the thoughts that I thought I would have about the album. Does that even make sense? And yes, I am still dressed as a showgirl because I love this era, and any excuse I have to razzle dazzle myself for a little bit, you know I'm gonna do it. So a lot of Swifties had very strong reactions to this album. Just a little background about myself is that I am single. I'm the exact same age as Taylor, and I'm also a 1989 Sagittarius. For me, I loved this album, and I'm very surprised that I did. And I feel like I have related so much to her music about breakups, and now that she's like in love and engaged, I feel like our paths have kind of like veered apart. And so before the album came out, I was like, I'm really not confident that I'm gonna be able to relate to any single one of these songs. They're gonna be about in love, they're gonna be about getting married, they're gonna be about having a fiance. Like, there's just no way in hell that I'm gonna be able to relate to this album. But I have to say that The Fate of Ophelia is one of my favorite songs that she's ever made. The music video is incredible. It's such a bop. The fact that there's a cute ass little dance is amazing. That is such a strong lead single. It's such a strong song with really beautiful visuals, and the lyrics are beautiful. They're smart, they're clever, just like signature Taylor is. So upon first listen, I loved that song, especially because the piano chords remind me of She-Wolf by Sia and David Guetta, which is just like a millennial anthem. Other than that, I really was not expecting to like this album at all. So upon first listen, I loved Fate of Ophelia. I loved Elizabeth Taylor. My top 3 of this album are in the order that they're listed. So Ophelia, Elizabeth Taylor, and Opalite. Those are all such amazing songs. And you know what? Even though I couldn't really relate to the being in love part, I really could still escape into her experience of being in love. I will say one of the biggest things that stood out to me as a Swiftie who loves Folklore, Evermore, and the Tortured Poets department is that the lyricism was still good in this album, but to me feels like not her best, because I feel like Tortured Poets was her best. And so adjusting to what everyone is calling like the cringe millennial lyrics, not something that I actually had a problem with. It was just something that's not particularly my taste. I feel like she was very inspired by Sabrina Carpenter for this album, which makes sense. She opened for the Eras Tour. They got to spend a lot of time together. She's a remarkable artist, and she's even featured on this album, but she is someone that's very empowered in her own sexuality, and I think Taylor saw that and was like, I really want to do this. I feel like she feels the most confident in herself, and that is reflected by the kind of more sultry vibe and lyricism of this album. I think for me though, one of the reasons why I love Taylor Swift so much is because she's never really done that in the past. Like, she would say those things, but in a really poetic way, and I think that is my preferred listening and lyricism for that kind of subject matter. But I can very much appreciate how in her power Taylor is in this album, and how much fun and kind of tongue-in-cheek and funny this album is. Daughter, I'm an only child. That one is not so much one that super resonates for me, although I am a content creator and some of those lines I can relate to. Father figure was one that was a grower for me. That's funny because of the lyrics. And now that's like, it's such a groove. For me, one of the surprising tracks that I loved the most was Honey. Honey is a very niche experience that a lot of girls unfortunately do experience. And I'm from LA, growing up in LA, you can see like the visuals of like the women laughing at her in the bathroom and everyone using Honey in like Sweetheart in like a passive aggressive way. And that beat is just such a vibe. I love dancing to it. I love the lyrics in it. I think it is so much fun. I also think Ruin the Friendship is like amazing storytelling. I really am curious about how Aaron Dessner or Jack Antonoff would do the production for that, because I definitely could see it on Tortured Poets department for sure, or maybe even on like Red. Also, the actual song The Life of a Showgirl with Sabrina Carpenter makes me so emotional every time I listen to it. Opalite makes me really emotional every time I listen to it, but Life of a Showgirl I don't think is getting enough love or commotion, and the storytelling and the visuals in that song is absolutely amazing. So I think Taylor deserves her flowers for that, which is also a nod to one of the lyrics in that song. Just so interesting because I didn't know at all that this was a controversial album. Because I'm in such a Swiftie bubble in all of my algorithms, all of us were just like having the best time listening to Life of a Showgirl and dancing to all of the songs. Like, Would I think is such a fun song because of the innuendos and things like like that, but also it's sonically very different from Taylor usually does, with having the Jackson 5 as an inspiration for that song, or interpolated. I'm not sure if that's the right use of that word, but the whole album has a lot of fun energy, and I am still listening to it, don't get me wrong, but it is November now and it's officially Evermore season, so now I'm just kind of going back and forth between the two. As a whole, I love The Life of a Showgirl. I really did not think that this album was going to be for me. Something I do understand about Swifties being a little bit, not upset, but maybe feeling a little bit confused by, is that the visuals are so showgirl that the album is the life of a showgirl, and people were expecting a sonic sound of like burlesque or kind of like jazzy, or for it to be about the actual Eras tour. But I always knew it was gonna be about her inner workings, but I do believe that the marketing really did kind of make some of us believe that, oh, this is what it's gonna sound like. But I kind of like that it wasn't. I just think this album is so fun, and I'm so happy for her that she is in this happiness and power, and I love that I love this album because I really wasn't expecting myself to. I'd love to know, what tracks are your favorites? What are you still listening to? Have you switched over to Evermore mode? What did you think about this album upon first listen, and how do you feel about it now? Because I'm still having a great time. Bye!